This is Maurice the Mouse's Cornfield, written and illustrated by myself, Donna Becerra. I'm Maurice the Mouse, and I love to speak, even though most people think I just squeak. I happen to be a great storyteller, who is also considered a quite handsome feller. I know I'm a mouse and I am rather small, but the tales that I tell are taller than tall. When it comes to tall tales, I am the master. Now here's my tale of a cornfield disaster. My story begins in a large field of corn. As a matter of fact, that's where I was born. The cornfield, of course, is mouse territory. Now listen well to this mouse's story. This is a story about my own life. It affected myself, my kids, and my wife. Of course it affected our neighbors too. Nobody knew quite what to do. We were minding our business and taking it easy. It was quite peaceful, just a little bit breezy, when all of a sudden we heard a loud rumbling and a weird group of voices that seemed to be mumbling. We jumped when we saw the terrible sight. When we landed, we stood there just frozen in fright. Our field was being trampled by monstrous creatures. They had lanky limbs and the strangest of features. It was the scariest thing we'd ever seen, even more frightening than Halloween. They terrified our little tykes. They ran to their mama screaming, "Yikes!" The mamas kept the babies out of sight. They picked them up and held on tight. The rest of us mice finally unfroze, but we were still shaking from our heads to our toes. The next thing we knew, our small feet were flying. We weren't fast enough, but we were sure trying. One of the giants almost stepped on my head. His gigantic foot crushed my tail instead. It scared me so badly I let out a yelp. A friend of mine ran over to help. Lucky for me, that giant stepped away. I was just thankful my tail was okay. The giants finally left, to our great relief. We all got control of our chattering teeth. A friend of mine asked, what was that all about? My buddies and I couldn't figure it out. One of them said, there must be a reason. An old-timer explained, it's detasseling season. The creatures are human. They're not here to hurt mice. As a matter of fact, some of them are quite nice. The humans come this time every year. To detassel the corn, there's nothing to fear.
They remove the tassels to help the corn grow. It increases production. That I do know. I'm sure that tomorrow they'll be back again. When I heard him say that, it made my head spin. In fact, they'll be coming back every day. All we have to do is stay out of their way. Then the humans will leave and be gone for a year. Things will be back to normal for all of us here. The next day we found out the old-timer was right. The Detasslers returned at the break of daylight. They kept coming back 3 weeks in a row. Then they all left, but where did they go? Little did I know that I'd soon find out. Then I would know what the fuss was about.
Things were normal for all of us mice. We went on with our lives, and it was quite nice. But then I got restless and decided to roam. I wandered away from my cornfield home.
I stumbled upon a human house that turned out to be unsafe for a mouse. I sneaked in through a crack in the wall. The humans didn't notice me at all. I looked up and saw, to my surprise, some humans eating corn right before my eyes. I grabbed a kernel from under the table. I would have gotten more if I'd been able. All at once a shadow blocked out the light. I was just stuck there frozen in fright. 2 huge golden eyes were staring me down. I couldn't tell if the face had a smile or a frown. He was licking his lips with one eyebrow raised. His evil expression was totally crazed. My body went cold. I was paralyzed. In fact, I felt I'd been hypnotized. I thought of my family and broke myself free. Then I turned around and started to flee. The animal chased me all through the house. I'm telling you, I was one scared little mouse. I was quite speedy, but so was he. In fact, that creature was right behind me. Out the front door I proceeded to skitter, but I just couldn't shake that horrible critter. The animal cornered me out by the gate. I was so frightened I couldn't think straight. The creature arched his back and suddenly pounced. I gathered all my strength. I scurried and bounced. Then a small human who was really quite pretty came running out yelling. The animal turned and ran to the child. He was acting so tame and shockingly mild. The human didn't even look suspicious. She didn't have a clue the creature was vicious. Why, he just pretended to be a tame pet. I've never seen anything quite like it yet.
I was thankful for the human for saving my life. I was able to make it back home to my wife. Back to my family I happily scurried. My wife said, "Maurice, I was getting worried." I told her about what happened that day. She said that I should never have gone away. I had to admit what she said was true. It wasn't the safest thing to do. But it's really not easy being a mouse, especially when you've got 9 kids and a spouse. Anyway, folks, that's the end of this story. I'm just thankful it didn't get gory. If I can invent a story, I'm sure you can too. It was fun for me, it'll be fun for you. So go right ahead. Try out your skill. You'll make a great story. I know that you will.